In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you this fun no-line coloring technique, like on this beautiful little elephant. This technique is very different from what we're used to as stampers when we're coloring. We're used to having a nice crisp black outline for our images that we use to color. But this technique actually removes that outline and lets us work with the image in a softer, almost a more painterly way, so that the finished image, like this cute pink polar bear on the left, is very impressionistic and soft. Here's my little elephant we're going to color, and here's the original stamp, which is a little bit different. I have about more than 150 colors of these touch markers to choose from, and I'm going to go with 3 of these gorgeous blue-green colors. I have a very pale one, a medium shade, and then a deep blue-green. I'm also going to use my birthday present, which is an Artograph LED light table. It is this awesome, flat, very thin LED light pad, and I'm going to use it as my work surface while I'm doing this coloring technique. Now what I've done is I've stamped the image in black on just a piece of copy paper, and I've taped it with painter's tape to the back of the cardstock that I'm going to be coloring on. So I'm just using it as a guide on this lighted table, but I'll actually be coloring on a blank piece of paper. To begin, you want to always start with your lightest color first, so I'm starting with this beautiful pale blue-green, and I'm just going to define a very small area to work in. It's easier if you just work in one area at a time, and you can get the shading right and then move on to the next area. Now the light table helps me make sure I fill in this area completely and don't miss any spots before I start blending in the deeper colors. So when that lighter color is all down, what you want to do is, while you have a little wet section still, you add your next darker color. Just very lightly add some shading. Come in with your third, and then go back and blend the darker color with the medium color and the medium color with the lighter color. And you can see what a smooth look it gives you when the light table is off. I like to check my work and make adjustments with the light table off throughout the coloring process. And this just helps me make sure that I've got everything blended and that I have shadows that are clearly defined in the right places, because it looks very different with the backlighting than it does with the lights off. Then I just move on to another section, do the same thing using the stamped image as my guide, just add a little bit of shading. This is a pretty easy image to find the shading on because they have little hash marks already on the image for you. And you can see here that I'm cheating, and I am eliminating this birthday cake from the elephant. I'm feeling kind of grinchy, and I don't want to give anybody a cake or a balloon. I just want my little elephant to be sitting there looking cute. So you have a lot of freedom with this technique to modify the original stamp image. So if, this little birthday heffalump is not for a birthday, then I can use him for a baby card or a good luck card or anything I'd like. Now his ears are super fun to color because they're so big, and the shading's easy to get right with the top of that ear, very well defined for me. And I want that to really recess into the background, the inside of his ear, so I put some pretty dark marker there. And the more you go over an image, even with the same color of these touch markers, the deeper that color is going to be. So you can actually get shading with a single color of marker, not just with 3 of them. So I saved the best for last. I have his head, which is the focal point of this image. And since it's such a large area and it's in front of the other parts of the elephant, it's just going to be a little bit lighter naturally. So I'm going to use mostly the medium color to shade around the edges of his big noggin, and come back and blend that out with the lightest color. Now at the end, I'm going to add with the bullet tip, which I love, his little eyes, And I'm going to come back and define those adorable toenails just by outlining them. And then with the light table off, I'm going to add the deepest shading and the most definition, because now I can really see him starting to take shape. And you'll see when I add shading for his mouth how three-dimensional he becomes. And there's my finished elephant. Next, I'm going to color this little fox using the same technique. This is a smaller image, and so it's a little quicker and easier to color. It's from a stamp set called Forest Festivities from Stampin' Up, and I'm also going to omit part of the image. You can see he has a little present, but I'm, again, feeling Grinchy. Not going to give that present out. I'm just going to have him be a wintry little fox. So I'm coloring his tail with first the lightest color and then a medium rust. And when I go to cover up that one highlighted spot on his tail, I'm doing so very, very lightly so that that very lightest color still shines through in a highlight. You don't have to color all the way over everything and completely blend all your colors. You get a more natural look if you leave some spaces a little less smoothly colored. Now to define his face, I'm going to do the same thing, use all three colors of this beautiful bricky color, fox color really. Give him a little darker part on the inside of his ear. And then here's where I'm going to just leave out the present and color his body. And his little arms and legs are so tiny, you really want to get in there with the tip of the brush and then come back with the little bullet to really truly define these smaller areas. Lets you put such great little shadows in with that precision point. Do the same thing on his head, make sure that he has details. And then for the white parts, what would be the white parts in nature, I'm using kind of almost a flesh tone, just so that you can still see him against the white of the paper. It gives him sort of a warmer look. Now for a scarf, I'm going to get a lot of contrast by using a nice turquoise color with little green stripes. And with this element, I have to go back and add shadows underneath this scarf to really make it look like it's standing up away from the fox, which is important just for realism. And then with the light off, I can finish my shading. Blend out, give him some little highlights with the lightest color and some low lights with the darkest. And you can see how fun it is to mess with it until you really like it. And then finally, I'm going to give him a little shadow on the snow. Make sure his nice fluffy tail has a shadow too. Just with the same color that's the lightest color on the fox. And there's my finished fox.
They loved your sound, loved it when you came unwound and you saw the world in a darker shade.